The Rogue King's Reluctant Queen. The Capture. Welcome to Fallen Hearts Chronicles. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Undefeated Alpha. Seraphina stood on the high ridge overlooking Dawn Ridge territory, watching the sun rise over her lands. At 25, she was the youngest alpha in the Northern Territories and the only female alpha for 300 miles. She'd earned her position not through birthright but through blood, sweat, and countless victories in the fighting rings. Her pack called her the Iron Wolf. Enemies called her the Untouchable. She'd never lost a fight, never backed down from a challenge, never shown weakness, and she'd never ever accepted a mate bond. Alpha, the patrol is ready. Her beta, Marcus, approached from behind. He was strong, loyal, and had been trying to court her for 2 years. She'd rejected him gently but firmly. Romance had no place in her life. Mates made wolves weak, distracted, vulnerable. She'd seen it happen too many times. Strong wolves brought low by love, making foolish decisions to protect their mates, compromising their packs for personal feelings. Seraphina refused to be that kind of leader. Her pack came first, always, and that meant staying unattached, focused, strong. Good, Seraphina said, adjusting her weapons. She carried twin silver daggers and a sword across her back. What's the latest intelligence on the rogue activities? Marcus's expression darkened. More sightings near the eastern border. At least 20 rogues, possibly more. They're organized, Alpha. That's what concerns me. Rogues are usually scattered, desperate, lone wolves. These ones move like a pack, like they have a leader. The Rogue King, Seraphina said grimly. The name sent whispers through wolf territories. Kale, they called him. The Rogue King who commanded hundreds of outcast wolves, who'd never been caught or defeated, who struck at packs seemingly at random. Some said he was a myth, a story to scare young wolves. Others swore they'd seen him. A massive black wolf with gold eyes, faster and stronger than any alpha. Seraphina didn't believe in myths. If this Rogue King existed, he was just another enemy to defeat. We'll patrol the eastern border, Seraphina decided. Take 10 of our best warriors. If we encounter rogues, we capture them and find out what they want with our territory. What if we encounter him? The Rogue King himself? Marcus asked. Seraphina smiled coldly. Then I'll finally have a worthy opponent. They set out an hour later, 10 warriors following their alpha into the dense forest that bordered Dawn Ridge territory. The morning mist clung to the ground, making visibility poor. Seraphina's instincts prickled with warning, but she pushed forward. Fear had no place in an alpha's heart. They'd been traveling for 2 hours when Seraphina caught a scent. Wolf, but not from her pack. Multiple wolves, surrounding them, moving through the trees like shadows. Ambush! Seraphina shouted, drawing her weapons. Rogues poured out of the forest, not 20 but at least 40. They'd been lured into a trap. Seraphina's warriors fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 4 to 1. She cut down 3 rogues quickly, her movements precise and lethal. But more kept coming. Then she saw him. A massive black wolf emerged from the trees, larger than any she'd ever seen. His fur was dark as midnight, his eyes burning gold. He moved with liquid grace, power radiating from every step. And when those gold eyes locked onto her, Seraphina felt something she'd never felt before. The mate bond. It slammed into her like a physical force, a golden thread connecting her heart to his, undeniable and overwhelming. Her wolf surged inside her, screaming mate, with desperate joy. Every instinct told her to submit, to go to him, to accept what destiny had chosen. Seraphina crushed those instincts with iron will. She would not be controlled by biology, by some cosmic joke that paired her with a rogue, with an enemy, with everything she'd sworn to stand against. You, she snarled, pointing her blade at him. You're the Rogue King. The massive wolf shifted, and suddenly a man stood before her. He was tall, heavily muscled, with black hair pulled back and scars crossing his chest and arms. His face was harsh, handsome in a brutal way, and those gold eyes studied her with intense interest. Seraphina, Kale said, his voice deep and rough. The Iron Wolf. I've heard stories about you. And I've heard stories about you, Seraphina shot back. Outcast. Rogue. Criminal. Do you feel the bond? Do you feel what destiny has cursed us with? I feel it, Kale acknowledged calmly. I've felt it for 3 months now, since the first time I crossed into your territory and caught your scent. This is why I'm here. Why I've been watching your pack, studying your patterns. Rage burned through Seraphina. You've been stalking me? Preparing, Kale corrected. Because I knew you'd never come willingly. I knew you'd fight the bond, fight me, fight everything. So I prepared to take you by force. You dare. Seraphina lunged at him, her blade aimed for his throat. Kale moved faster than she'd anticipated. He caught her wrist, twisted, and suddenly she was disarmed and pinned against a tree, his body pressing hers immobile. The mate bond flared at the contact, sending unwanted heat through her body. She hated it, hated him, hated her own traitorous instincts. I dare, Kale said quietly, his face inches from hers. Because you're my mate, and I protect what's mine, even from herself. I am not yours, Seraphina hissed. I belong to no one. I bow to no one, especially not some outcast rogue who thinks kidnapping is acceptable courtship. Kale smiled, and it wasn't kind. We'll see. Your warriors are being subdued as we speak. They won't be harmed if they don't resist. But you, Alpha Seraphina, you're coming with me. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Choose. Seraphina spat in his face. Kale sighed, almost regretful. Hard way it is. He pressed a pressure point on her neck, and darkness claimed her. Waking in enemy territory, Seraphina woke in a bed. That was the first shock. She'd expected a cage, chains, a dungeon. Instead, she was in a comfortable bedroom with wooden walls, warm furs, and morning light streaming through a window. Her weapons were gone, but she was unharmed, her clothes intact, even her boots still on. She sat up quickly, her head spinning. How long had she been unconscious? Hours? Days? She reached for the mate bond instinctively and felt it pulling her toward somewhere nearby. Kale was close. The door opened, and a young woman entered carrying a tray of food. She had red hair, green eyes, and moved nervously like she expected Seraphina to attack. The king said you'd be waking soon, the girl said, setting the tray on a small table. He asked me to bring you food and tell you he'll see you in an hour. Where am I? Seraphina demanded. The rogue sanctuary, the girl answered. It's what we call our home. Deep in the wilderness past the territories of any pack. We're safe here. Safe from what? The girl's expression grew haunted. From the packs that rejected us. From the alphas who threw us out for being too weak, too different, too broken. The king takes in all of us, gives us a place to belong. Despite her anger, Seraphina felt a flicker of curiosity. What's your name? What pack did you come from? I'm Lily. I was from the Silver Crest pack, until... She pulled back her hair, revealing a jagged scar running down the side of her face. Until I was attacked by rogues and scarred. My alpha said I was too ugly to represent the pack anymore. Said I'd never find a mate looking like this, so I was useless. He exiled me when I was 16. I would have died in the wilderness if the king hadn't found me. Seraphina felt uncomfortable sympathy rising. She pushed it down. This girl's story was sad, but it didn't excuse kidnapping. Where are my warriors? What has he done with them? They're alive and well, being held comfortably in the guest quarters. The king doesn't harm prisoners unless they try to escape or hurt his people. He said to tell you they're being treated as honored guests, not captives. Honored guests who can't leave, Seraphina said bitterly. You could leave, Lily said softly. If you accepted the mate bond, accepted the king, you could take your warriors and go home anytime you wanted. He's not keeping you prisoner, Alpha. He's keeping you safe until you see reason. See reason. Seraphina stood, anger flooding her. He kidnapped me, ambushed my patrol, took me by force from my territory. That's not protection. That's assault. Lily flinched at her raised voice but stood her ground. The king had his reasons. He always does. Talk to him. Listen to what he has to say. Then judge. She left before Serafina could respond, closing the door behind her. Serafina heard no lock click, noticed no guards outside. She went to the window and looked out at what lay beyond. The rogue sanctuary was not what she'd expected. Instead of a crude camp or temporary settlement, she saw an actual village. Well-built cabins, communal areas, training grounds, even children playing in the streets. Wolves moved about peacefully, some in human form, some shifted, all looking happy, content, like they belonged. This wasn't a gang of savage rogues. This was a community. The realization disturbed her more than chains would have. The Rogue King's court. An hour later, Lily returned to escort Serafina to meet Kale. They walked through the village, and Serafina couldn't help but notice how people looked at her. Not with fear or hostility, but with curiosity and hope. Like she was something precious, something they'd been waiting for. They know you're the king's mate, Lily explained. It's all anyone can talk about. The Iron Wolf caught by the Rogue King. Some think it's romantic. Others think you'll kill him the first chance you get. Smart ones, those others, Serafina muttered. Lily led her to the largest building in the village. A long hall made of stone and timber. Inside, it was warm and well-lit, with a central fire pit and tables arranged for communal dining. At the far end sat Kale on a simple wooden throne, surrounded by what must be his council, warriors and advisors, all former rogues who'd found purpose here. Kale stood when she entered, a gesture of respect that surprised her. Serafina, thank you for coming. As if I had a choice, she said coldly. You always have choices, Kale replied. Sit. Let's talk. I prefer to stand. Then stand. He waved away his counsel, leaving them alone. I owe you an explanation. You owe me far more than that, Serafina snapped. You kidnapped an alpha, attacked my warriors, violated pack law. I should have your head for this. You're welcome to try, Kale said mildly. But first, hear me out. Your pack is in danger, Serafina. Serious danger. And you don't even know it. That got her attention. Explain. Kale moved closer, his presence overwhelming even as she tried to ignore the mate bond's insistent pull. There's a traitor in your pack. Someone high-ranking, someone you trust. They've been working with the Iron Fang pack to the south, plotting to overthrow you and take Dawn Ridge territory. That's impossible, Serafina said immediately. My warriors are loyal. I've earned their respect, their allegiance. Not all of them, Kale insisted. I have spies, information networks. I know things about pack politics that would surprise you. Your beta, Marcus. He's been meeting secretly with Iron Fang representatives for 6 months. You're lying. But even as she said it, doubt crept in. Marcus had been pushing her to accept a mate bond with him. Had been insisting she needed to settle down, choose a partner, produce heirs. Had been questioning her decisions more frequently, undermining her authority subtly. I have proof, Kale said. Letters, testimonies from witnesses. I brought you here partly because of the mate bond, yes, but also to keep you safe while I gathered enough evidence to show you the truth. If I'd told you first, if I'd approached you openly, Marcus would have convinced you I was lying. He'd have turned your pack against me, against you when you questioned him. I needed you here, away from his influence, so you could see clearly. Serafina's mind raced. Could it be true? Could Marcus betray her after years of loyal service? The thought made her sick, but she couldn't dismiss it entirely. She'd been so focused on external threats that she'd never considered an enemy from within. Show me this proof, she demanded. Kale gestured to a table where several documents lay spread out. Letters in Marcus's handwriting, detailing plans to weaken Serafina's authority, isolate her from key allies, and create an opening for Iron Fang to attack. Testimonies from rogues who'd overheard the planning. Even a map showing coordinated attack points on Dawn Ridge territory. Serafina read through everything, her anger growing with each page. If this was real, if Marcus truly had betrayed her. But she couldn't just accept it. Not without verification. "How do I know you didn't forge these?" she challenged. "You don't," Cale admitted. "Not yet. But give me time. Let me show you more. Let me prove that I'm not your enemy, Serafina. That I'm trying to protect you. Protect your pack. Because you're my mate and what threatens you threatens me." "The mate bond," Serafina said bitterly. "That's all this is to you. Some biological imperative making you think you need to rescue me." "The mate bond brought me to you," Cale corrected. "But respect keeps me here. I've watched you lead, Serafina. I've seen your strength, your dedication to your pack. You're an incredible alpha. And you deserve better than betrayal from those you trust." His words touched something in her chest, something she didn't want to feel. "What do you want from me?" "Time," Cale said simply. "Stay here for 2 weeks. Let me show you evidence. Introduce you to my people. Prove that I'm not the monster you think I am. At the end of 2 weeks, if you still want to leave, I'll let you go. You and your warriors, free and unharmed. I'll even escort you back to your territory myself. And if I refuse, if I try to escape before then," Cale's expression hardened, "then I'll stop you. Not to hurt you, but I can't let you walk back into danger blind. 2 weeks, Serafina. That's all I ask. 2 weeks to prove I'm telling the truth, that your pack needs you to see clearly before you return." Serafina weighed her options. She could fight, try to escape. But she was in the heart of rogue territory, surrounded by hundreds of wolves loyal to Cale. Even if she made it out, her warriors would be left behind. And if there was even a chance he was telling the truth about Marcus. 2 weeks, she agreed reluctantly. "But I'm not accepting any mate bond. I'm not playing house with you. This is purely practical. I'll investigate your claims, verify your evidence. That's all. That's all I ask," Cale said, though his eyes held something deeper, something that made the mate bond thrum between them. "Welcome to the Rogue Sanctuary, Alpha Serafina. I hope by the time you leave, you'll see it as I do. Not a collection of outcasts, but a family of survivors." Serafina said nothing. She didn't trust him, didn't trust the situation, didn't trust her own instincts when it came to this male who made her wolf sing with recognition. But she would stay. She would investigate. And if he was lying, if this was all just some elaborate scheme to control her through the mate bond, she would make him regret ever setting eyes on the Iron Wolf. If he was telling the truth, well, she'd deal with that when she had to. For now, she was a prisoner in a golden cage, and the Rogue King was watching her with eyes that held too many secrets. 2 weeks. She could survive 2 weeks. And then she'd reclaim her freedom and return to her pack. Mate bond be damned. The Rogue King's reluctant queen. PHE breaking walls. Welcome back to Fallen Hearts Chronicles. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Life among the outcasts. The first 3 days in the Rogue Sanctuary challenged everything Serafina thought she knew about rogues. She'd been taught that rogues were dangerous, unstable wolves who'd been cast out for crimes or weakness. Savage creatures who lived alone, attacking packs for resources, too broken or violent to function in civilized wolf society. But the wolves she met here told different stories. There was Thomas, a former pack doctor who'd been exiled for refusing to let his alpha's son die after a training accident. The young wolf challenged someone far above his skill level, Thomas explained as he showed Serafina the medical facility, surprisingly well equipped with herbs and supplies. He was losing badly, would have been killed. I stepped in to stop the fight. The alpha said I'd dishonored his son by implying he needed help. Exiled me the next day. There was Vera, a warrior who'd been cast out for being barren. My alpha said a female who couldn't produce pups was useless to the pack, she said bitterly. Didn't matter that I'd served for 15 years, fought in countless battles, trained the younger warriors. One medical diagnosis and I was nothing. There was James, exiled for being gay and refusing to take a female mate. There was little Maya, only 8 years old, whose parents had died and whose pack had decided orphans were too much burden to keep. There was old Samuel, cast out for being too old to fight anymore. left to die in the wilderness at 70. Story after story, wolf after wolf, each one rejected for reasons that made Serafina's stomach turn. These weren't criminals or monsters. They were victims of cruel alphas, of packs that valued strength over compassion, of systems that discarded anyone who didn't fit a narrow definition of useful. Still think we're all dangerous savages? Kale asked one evening as they watched children play in the village square. He'd been giving her space, only approaching for necessary conversations, but his presence was always felt. The mate bond hummed between them constantly, an awareness she couldn't escape. I think the packs that cast these wolves out are the real savages, Serafina admitted reluctantly. What you've built here, it's not what I expected. What did you expect? A camp of violent rogues planning raids and living like animals. Kale's tone was wry but not unkind. Yes, Serafina said honestly. That's what I was taught. That rogues are unstable. That losing pack bonds drives wolves mad. That they can't be trusted or reasoned with. Some rogues are like that, Kale acknowledged. The ones who were truly cast out for crimes, for violence they couldn't control. Those rogues are dangerous, and I deal with them when they threaten my people. But most, he gestured to the village around them, most are just wolves who deserved better, who needed a second chance and a place to belong. Serafina watched Maya chase after an older boy, her laughter bright and carefree. How many do you have here? 347 at last count. It grows every month. Word spreads among the rejected, the outcast, the unwanted. They find their way here and we take them in. Feed them, heal them, give them purpose. Kale's voice held quiet pride. This isn't just a rogue camp, Serafina. It's a pack. A real pack built on choice and acceptance rather than blood and dominance. You're their alpha, Serafina observed. I'm their king, Kale corrected. There's a difference. An alpha rules through strength and bloodline. A king rules through earning loyalty and trust. Every wolf here chose to follow me. They can leave anytime they want. Some do, once they're healed and ready to face the world again. But most stay because they found family here. The conviction in his voice stirred something in Serafina's chest. This wasn't the speech of a power-hungry rogue. This was a leader who genuinely cared about his people. Tell me your story, Serafina said impulsively. How did the rogue king come to exist? Kale was quiet for a long moment, his gold eyes distant. That's a story best told somewhere private. Come. I'll show you my den, and I'll tell you everything. The rogue king's tragedy. Kale's personal quarters were in a cabin at the edge of the village, larger than the others but not ostentatiously so. Inside was simple but comfortable. Furniture handmade from local wood, furs on the bed, weapons mounted on the walls. A large map of the Northern Territories dominated one wall, marked with symbols Serafina didn't recognize. Kale poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed her one. 10 years ago, I was alpha of the Shadow Creek Pack. We were small but prosperous, peaceful. I had a mate, Elena. We'd been bonded for 5 years, happy years. She was pregnant with our first child. Serafina felt her chest tighten at the past tense. My beta was a wolf named Demon. I'd known him since childhood, trusted him completely. He was my best friend, my brother in all but blood. Kale's voice grew harder. What I didn't know was that Demon wanted Elena for himself. He'd wanted her before we bonded, and he never forgave me for being chosen over him. He took a long drink. Demon plotted with a rival pack. They attacked during a full moon festival when our defenses were low, when everyone was celebrating. The enemy wolves came through our borders like a flood. I fought, but I was outnumbered. Demon revealed his betrayal then, shifted and went straight for Elena. Kale's hand tightened on his glass. I tried to reach her, fought through dozens of enemies to get to her side. But I was too late. Demon killed her, killed our unborn child, right in front of me. Said if he couldn't have her, no one would. Kale? Serafina breathed, horror washing over her. I went mad with grief and rage. Killed Demon, killed 20 enemy wolves before they finally brought me down. They should have killed me then. maybe it would have been kinder. Instead, they destroyed my pack bonds, exiled me, and left me to die in the wilderness with my wounds and my grief. He set down his glass with deliberate care. I didn't die. I survived, though part of me wishes I hadn't. Spent months alone, feral, more wolf than man. Eventually, I found other rogues, other outcasts. We banded together for survival. And slowly, I realized we could be more than just survivors. We could build something new, something better than the packs that had failed us. So you became the Rogue King, Seraphina said softly. So I became the Rogue King, Kale agreed. I swore I'd create a place where no wolf would be cast aside, where loyalty and character mattered more than bloodline or breeding, where the broken could heal and the unwanted could belong. He looked at her directly. I never wanted another mate, never thought I could bear to bond again after losing Elena. And then 3 months ago, I caught your scent. The mate bond flared between them, warm and insistent. Seraphina's wolf whined, wanting to close the distance between them, wanting to comfort and be comforted. I didn't want this either, Seraphina admitted. I've spent my entire life believing that mates make you weak, that loving someone gives them power to destroy you. Elena's death almost destroyed me, Kale said. For years I thought you were right, that love was weakness. But building this place, watching families form here, seeing wolves heal and love and live fully, I realized I was wrong. Love isn't weakness, Seraphina. Fear of love is weakness. Refusing to feel, refusing to connect, refusing to risk your heart. That's cowardice, not strength. His words hit like physical blows. You're calling me a coward? I'm saying we're both cowards, Kale corrected. You hide behind your reputation as the Iron Wolf, never letting anyone close. I hid behind my role as the Rogue King, never allowing myself to want anything beyond survival and service. But the mate bond doesn't care about our fears. It saw past our walls to who we really are, and it decided we're meant for each other. I don't want it, Seraphina insisted, but her voice lacked conviction. Don't you? Kale moved closer, and she could feel the heat radiating from him, smell his scent. Pine and smoke and something uniquely him. Your wolf wants me. I can feel it every time we're near each other. And my wolf wants you with an intensity that terrifies me. We can fight it, deny it, push it away. But it won't change what we are. And what are we? Seraphina asked, her voice barely a whisper. Fated mates, Kale said simply. 2 broken wolves given a chance at something whole. 2 alphas who could build something extraordinary together. If we're brave enough to try. Seraphina wanted to argue, to push him away, to maintain her walls. But standing here in his den, hearing his story, feeling the mate bond singing between them, she couldn't deny the truth anymore. She was drawn to him, not just physically, though that pull was undeniable, but to his strength, his compassion, his vision of what wolves could be. I need time, she said finally. I need to think. Take all the time you need, Kale said, stepping back and giving her space. The 2 weeks are yours to use however you want. Investigate my claims about Marcus. Get to know my people. Figure out what you want. I won't push. I won't demand. All I ask is that you be honest with yourself about what you feel. Seraphina nodded and left his den, her mind spinning. Outside, the night was clear and cold, the moon hanging full and bright above the rogue sanctuary. She walked through the village, watching wolves settle in for the evening, families gathering, mates curling up together. She'd never wanted this, never wanted the vulnerability of caring for someone who could be torn away. But watching these wolves, seeing their happiness despite their past pain, she wondered if she'd been wrong. If the strength to love despite the risk of loss was actually braver than never risking at all. The evidence mounts. The next morning, Kale presented Seraphina with his beta, a grizzled old wolf named Connor who'd been gathering intelligence on pack politics for years. Tell her what you told me, Kale instructed. Connor laid out a series of documents and testimonies. Your beta Marcus has been meeting with Iron Fang representatives for 6 months. Like the king said, But it's worse than we initially thought. He's not just planning to overthrow you. He's planning to kill you. Serafina felt cold dread pool in her stomach. Kill me? Why? Because you refuse to accept him as your mate, Connor explained. He's been in love with you for years. Everyone knows it. But you keep rejecting him, keep pushing him away. His pride couldn't take it anymore. So he made a deal with Iron Fang, helped them take Dawn Ridge territory, and in return they'd support his claim as the new alpha. But first you had to be eliminated. This is insane, Serafina breathed. Marcus has been loyal for years. He's been my beta, my friend. Has he? Kale interrupted gently. Or has he been slowly undermining your authority, questioning your decisions, pushing you toward what he wanted? Think back, Serafina. How many times has he suggested you need a mate? How many times has he implied you're too independent, too harsh, too isolated? He's been manipulating you for years, trying to make you doubt yourself so you'd turn to him. Serafina thought back over the past 2 years, and with sickening clarity, she saw the pattern. Marcus constantly suggesting she was too aggressive with neighboring packs. Marcus questioning her decision to expand their healing programs instead of military strength. Marcus undermining her in small ways, making her warriors doubt her judgment on minor issues so that when he made his move, they'd be primed to accept his leadership. I need to see more, she said through clenched teeth. For the next 3 days, Connor and Kale showed her everything. Intercepted letters describing the planned attack on Dawn Ridge. Testimonies from Iron Fang wolves who'd attended the secret meetings. Even a detailed timeline of how Marcus planned to isolate her, create a situation where she appeared weak or incompetent, and then swoop in as the strong leader the pack needed. The betrayal burned. She'd trusted Marcus, had relied on him, and all along he'd been plotting her death. Why didn't you just tell me this from the start? Serafina demanded. Why kidnap me? Why not just send a messenger with this information? Because Marcus has spies throughout your pack, Kale explained. If I'd sent a messenger, Marcus would have known immediately. He'd have spun it as a rogue trying to divide you from your loyal beta. You'd have dismissed it, possibly executed my messenger as a liar. I needed you here, away from Marcus's influence, where you could see the truth clearly without him whispering poison in your ear. You could have asked, Serafina said bitterly. Would you have come? If the Rogue King had appeared at your borders and asked you to leave your pack for 2 weeks based on suspicions about your beta, would you have trusted me? Serafina wanted to say yes, but she knew it was a lie. She'd have viewed it as a trap, an attempt by rogues to separate her from her warriors. She'd have refused, possibly attacked, and Marcus's betrayal would have continued unchecked. No, she admitted quietly. I wouldn't have believed you. I know, Kale said. That's why I took you by force. Not to control you, but to save you. And I'm sorry it had to be this way, but I'd make the same choice again. Your life is worth more than your pride or my honor. The words settled something in Serafina's chest. He'd risked her hatred, risked her eternal enmity, to protect her from a threat she couldn't see. That wasn't the action of a tyrant or a manipulator. That was the action of someone who cared more about her survival than about being liked. What do I do now? Serafina asked, feeling lost. My pack is in danger. Marcus is plotting against me. If I return, he'll know something's wrong. He'll accelerate his timeline or disappear into hiding. I can't just walk back in and confront him without proof. You can't, Kale agreed. But we can. Together. Together. Serafina looked at him sharply. You return to your pack with your warriors. Everything appears normal. But I come with you, along with a contingent of my wolves. We offer an alliance, the Rogue Sanctuary and Dawn Ridge working together for mutual protection. It's unusual but not unheard of. Marcus won't be able to refuse without appearing paranoid or weak. Kale continued. Once we're inside your territory, we watch Marcus. We gather evidence in real time. And when he makes his move, because he will, especially with rogues in his territory, we're ready. We expose him in front of the entire pack, show them the proof, and let them see his betrayal with their own eyes. You'd risk your wolves like that? Bring them into pack territory where they could be attacked or killed. Serafina was surprised by the offer. I'd risk everything for my mate, Kale said simply. And my wolves are loyal. They'll follow where I lead, especially if it means helping the woman who's supposed to be their queen. Queen. The word hung in the air between them, heavy with implication.